Well, hello there, gang. So, I just saw my first complete figure display video. It's got over 1,000 views. That's so awesome. I'm really pleased about that. I still only have just over 200 subscribers. So, of the 1,000 people that watched that, at least 800 of them were like, I don't need any more of this. But over 200 have stuck around and you want more. So it's time for the third and final, what am I doing? Complete collection video. So here it is. Here's the rest. Enjoy. So gang, as a quick recap, we've done classic Spider-Man from the 60s and 70s. We've done 70s to 80s, and we've done 80s to 90s. Then in the second video, of course, we had the mid-2000s to the 2010s going on, the 20-teens, and of course, modern Spider-Man right here. But I know what you're thinking. Surely you don't just collect Spider-Man, Dave? Well, of course, that was the initial plan. But that's never how it works, is it? So let's check out the rest of the wider Marvel Universe. First of all, of course, going to... Oh, just my generation, just the nostalgic vibes of that song. It's the X-Men, and jeez Louise, I was putting off buying the X-Men, so I was like, I don't need to collect these guys. But then I saw the Love Triangle 2-pack, and I thought, you know what, I'll just get the core 5 X-Men, you know, because you've got to have a Wolverine in any collection anyway, who isn't core 5, but I thought I'll get him in the Love Triangle 3-pack, along with Jean Grey and Cyclops. Then once I had those three, I was like, okay, I'll get the 5 core X-Men. So of course that means an excuse to buy the beautiful Archangel figure, and Archangel was always a favorite of mine. He's just one of my favorite X-Men, just beautiful, shiny blue guy. And then of course, you know, core 5 is rounded out with Beast there in his little crouching pose, which I always thought was kind of a shame that he can't like look up very much in that crouching pose. I'm not going to have him in a handstand because that's begging for trouble. And of course, Iceman. I love Iceman. I love the fact that they made him gay in the comics. It's like, that was a bold move, and I respect that. So yeah, I love the like fractal fragments of ice on this sculpt. It's terrific. But then of course, you're not going to stop with the basic 5R. You know, of course not. I wanted an excuse to get Gambit for ages because I love the shiny metallic paintwork and the card accessories, really nice. And of course, whew, look at that, Rogue. Rogue was a grail for such a long time. And when there were rumors of her being re-released, I think a lot of people were selling her on while she was still, you know, quite sought after. So I managed to pick her up for a reasonable price. I was quite happy with that. Jubilee I got from the States. She was part of a big unboxing video I did a while ago, which was very popular. And I love the bubblegum. I think that's a great little touch there. And I'm surprised that her glasses are not attached to her. They come off very easily, unlike the hideous Peter Parker glasses, which, you know, are glued on at the sides. Of course, we got Nightcrawler coming up here. Psylocke, I think, is the most recent addition to the team, and I love this character. I love the design and sculpt for her. I was really torn. I had the choice of getting the black and purple hair, black or purple. And I went for the purple because that's the Psylocke that I know, mostly from the Uncanny Joe Madureira run. But I miss her having the blue costume, like really purple hair on a blue costume. That's the ultimate Psylocke there. Bishop just doing his thing. Again, he was from the States. Sabretooth, who everyone laments, and I do agree, needs to be on a bigger buck, but we'll forgive that. Mr. Sinister, before I started collecting the X-Men, was another one that I really wanted, just because I love how bright and shiny and colourful this guy is. Again, he pops off the shelf. He's got the huge big cape. Oof, awesome. Speaking of awesome, Omega Red, one of the first villains I really got familiar with the Jim Lee run. Again, just a badass character. I love the sculpt of this, but I think it's a real shame that there's no wash or detail or shading or shadowing. It's very just bold colors, which is a bit of a shame. Magneto from the Family Matters 3-pack. Not a huge fan of the bright white eye head sculpt. I also have the maskless one that came with the black costume Magneto that I have on there sometimes. I do dig the swirly effects though, even though they're very overused. Juggernaut from the Colossus 2-pack. Speaking of Colossus, hey, there he is. I think this is a beautiful figure. Really great. And again, when I first started getting into comics, I was at a time where Colossus had defected to join Magneto after his sister had died, and I was like, wow, these stories are deep. Now then, Storm is a lovely character. I can't really get her in a decent pose, unfortunately. Nothing I'm really happy with. The flight stand helps, but also her little cape has been ripped by my cat-handedness, which I'm really annoyed about. And I don't want to buy a whole other Storm just to replace that, so I think I might have to grit my teeth. Cable, I think, is a terrific looking figure here. Love the accessories and the big ass gun on his back, and the detail with the bullets and the pockets and the pouches make Rob Liefeld proud. Forge here, I for the X-Men, I just wanted to go Jim Lee X-Men. So Forge qualifies as Jim Lee X-Men, and he appears in the cartoon a few times as well. So he definitely qualifies. I kind of like the pose I got with him, sort of drawing his gun there. Of course, you cannot have not only an X-Men collection, but any kind of collection you can't have without Wolverine. So Wolverine is an absolute given, and this is the one from the Love Triangle 3-pack. I've repurposed his head and cowl elsewhere. Silver Samurai, again, just beautiful. I love the detailing on the actual samurai gear, like some real care and attention has gone into this. You see the actual the detail on the rope tying his plates together. Like, there's some real actual thought and care that's gone into this that you don't always expect. You should do, but it's not a guarantee. We got Apocalypse here, who I love. I love the design. It's a shame though, he could be bigger. I've got the Age of Apocalypse coming, and I was kind of disappointed to learn that he was on the same buck. I understand why they did that, but I just wanted a bigger, chunkier Apocalypse. But that notwithstanding, he does look pretty cool, so we'll forgive him that. And finally here, we've got Onslaught. And I love Onslaught. Being a child of the 90s, Onslaught was the coolest thing imaginable. So much mystery as to who is Onslaught, but I imagine that it is kind of a maligned story these days because it was rather overblown and ridiculous, but did make for a cool figure. I've got an Onslaught review on the page on my YouTube channel, which I was going to do a full Onslaught story retrospective, but boy, I'm not sure if I'll get all the way around to that because my goodness, that story is a big undertaking. But here we go, gang. This right here is my X-Men lineup. Not bad, hey? Got some 90s cartoon nostalgia vibes there. I'm pretty happy with that. So keeping it mutant related, we of course then transition over to the Age of Apocalypse. One of the more recent waves here with this big ugly guy as the build-a-figure. It's a mixed bag, I feel. I mean, I'm thrilled at doing an Age of Apocalypse wave, but some of the things I would improve. I'm not a huge fan of the Weapon X head sculpt, and the skin tones are funny, but we'll allow it. Jean Grey actually looks pretty great, and not the easiest to stand, but she'll do fine. Wild Child, Sunfire, I adore. X-Man, I'm just thrilled we have an X-Man figure, and he's got the Shocker Blast Wave on there. Really should have come with some accessories of his own, but we'll allow it. Again, I'm being very lenient here. Blink, I'm very pleased with the pose I got when they're coming out of her portal. I like that. I've seen some people have actually chopped her in half and got two portals and done her disappearing from one part of their display and coming out the other. That's very cool. Of course, Dark Beast, just very similar to the other Blue Beast in that he can stand on his hand, but again, with my clumsy ass around here, that's just asking for trouble. And Morph, who is a character that I really don't like, but he stands out, he pops on the shelf. And again, big, ugly Sugar Man. And who doesn't love big, ugly, gross figures? And finally, even though he's not technically Age of Apocalypse, Cosmic Ghost Rider does make for a very nice bookend. And sometimes that comes into play. And Cosmic Ghost Rider, that's a funny one, you know? It's like, I don't collect cosmic characters per se, but, you know, he's bright and colorful and ridiculous and awesome. So I'll absolutely allow him in the collection. Again, what do I say? Flaming skulls, bright colorful neon. How could I not love this figure? So yeah, that's a guarantee he's gonna make an appearance. And there you go, we've got Age of Apocalypse with a little Cosmic Ghost Rider. So let's just draw ourselves over to the final part of the collection. Yeah, we've almost done it. It's almost complete. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? So now we have the wider Marvel Universe coming into the Avengers. Now, again, this is how it always gets started. You want one figure and then you end up just, you know, buying a whole series. It's just you start pulling on a thread and then you just don't stop. So I originally saw the 80th anniversary cap and I was like, oh gosh, that is just beautiful. Such a stunningly well-made figure. The sculpting, the colors, oh, the colors, children. So yeah, I absolutely had to get Cap. And then of course you can't have Cap on his own. You gotta have 80th Iron Man and Thor as well. And I love that these designs are very retro, but they kind of are 90s friendly as well. And you know, I love that. And of course, the Wolverine 2-pack Hulk. I mean, oh my goodness, this guy is just, he's Marvel Legends at their absolute best. I love how tall and towering and just terrific he looks with the scowl and the removable ripped up shirt, just absolutely terrific. So of course, once you've got the core Avengers, you gotta get the classic team, don't you? You just have to. So of course we've got Hawkeye right here. We got Scarlet Witch. I know that, you know, I'm not an Avengers expert, so I know there's probably some people who can say like, oh, well, that wasn't the exact core team, or, you know, they appeared at this point, but to that I say, shut up. This is my collection. So you got Scarlet Witch over here. You've got the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, is that right? Of course, as I was saying in the previous video, we got the Dread Dormammu, he sort of works his way into the wider Marvel universe. So maybe not specifically Avengers, but yeah, wider Marvel. And going back to Avengers, we got Loki, which, you know, I like the head sculpt. There's like an old school sort of Loki, but it's cheap ass body. They really phoned this one in. Black Panther, you see, on the flip side though, Black Panther is again a very, very simple figure, but it just works. I love the sleekness and I love the design, the detail on the cat ears. Yeah, I like Black Panther. With Black Widow here, she's fine. Again, it's that very neutral expression, which I'm not a big fan of, but at least it doesn't look too dead-eyed. Quicksilver, part of the Family Matters set with Magneto and his sister Scarlet Witch. Are they not Magneto's children? I know that, you know, Marvel kind of retcons some things to make them not mutants, which I thought was kind of stupid, but there you go. Yeah, so I could arguably put these two in the X-Men display, but I don't have any other Brotherhood of Mutants figures. There's that Pyro 2-pack coming out, but do I want to go down that rabbit hole too? You got Grey She-Hulk, she stands out a bit, doesn't she? Because she's not really classic. This is more of it's a very modern character. So where else am I going to put her? Vision just looks gorgeous. You know, shiny, pops off the shelf. I need to have him like a bit higher up. He's getting a bit lost back there behind Super Skrull. To be honest, the real estate here, it's a battle for shelf space. Super Skrull, I'm a big fan of. I like him. We've got Speedo's Namor, which was, to be honest, just the only Namor I could find. I gave him the bearded head sculpt just to make him look a bit more, sort of, you know, have something more going on there. But I would love the sort of the black costume version. I think that would look a lot better. The Leader, one of the few figures from the Gamerverse wave that I got. I had to fight hard not to get all the figures to get the Abomination, because I don't need the Abomination. It looks awesome and huge, but I don't want to collect Gamerverse figures. They look ugly. So hopefully they'll use that buck to make a comic book Abomination, then I'll buy the living bejesus out of that. Ant-Man, look in the business. I like doing a few sort of kneeling characters and getting the sort of layered effect there. And that always works pretty well. Of course, my current favorite new figure, the Rider Punisher. This guy, just the more I look at him, the more I'm like, oh, how was I even on the fence about getting this? This guy is just superb. It almost looks kind of out of place because the detail is so intricate and he's such a realistic looking figure that like he doesn't quite go with the more sort of wacky, bright and vibrant, dare I say, cartoonish other characters. But again, that's one good thing about Hasbro, is that they do keep the aesthetic sort of generally the same, so you can get away with even having a very gritty street level character in with the more brightly colored ones. And finally, we come around to the very, very end, my other bookend. We've got Select Thanos. Yes, Select Thanos. I don't have the Legends one, but at the same time, I don't mind that too much because the Select one I think is just terrific. He scales fantastically. I prefer the more detailed, comic accurate costume. So yeah, would I like a classic Thanos? Of course I would. But I will happily take this guy with his completed Infinity Gauntlet to round out my Avengers wider Marvel Universe display. And there we have it, folks. Let's just do a little WrestleMania style. We're going to do a little recap. Let's see if I can refocus there. So we have wider Marvel. We've got ourselves Jim Lee's X-Men, and of course Age of Apocalypse with Ghost Rider as the bookend. Let's see if we can do like a little swooping crane shot, like a jib shot through all these guys. That's just kind of fun actually. I've got to see if I can coordinate my hands not to knock anything over while I'm panning across all these guys. But they do look, even if I do say so myself, they look pretty awesome when they're all stacked up like this. I'm loving this. Of course, got the bright, colourful Dormammu. Oh, I'm really pleased with them. And then going into the Avengers, I think I need to sort of rearrange these slightly. I think Avengers, really, they should be kind of pride of place in the middle of the display. But that's another job for another day. Maybe another video for another day. I'm gonna pan back here to take in the whole shebang. This represents 2020 lockdown. Well, okay. I was collecting a little bit before 2020 lockdown, but my goodness, it definitely has expanded over the last few months. And that, folks, is David Display's model behavior complete. Marvel Legends collection.